Vision? What do you know about my vision? My vision would turn your world upside down, tear asunder your illusions, and send the sanctuary of your own ignorance crashing down around you. Now ask yourself, are you really ready to see that vision?
But what was going wrong was that the huge and growing demand for wheat as the United States entered the war in Europe in 1917 meant an excessive unleashing of this new technology on a soil vulnerable both to erosion by the incessant winds and to the frequent droughts of this dry interior. Quite simply, a fragile land was being flogged to death. By 1929, an area the size of England was under wheat. It was a technological revolution, but in 1930, nature struck back. As the years of drought set in and the winds swept the plains as they had always done, the failed crops were not able to fix the soil as the tough prairie grasses once did. A nation watched as the flames blew away. The new technologists were abandoned by their own land. In one black blizzard, 5 million tons of soil took to the air over Wichita, Kansas. Another swept from Montana to the Mississippi. The stories have grown into the Dust Bowl legends of the death of livestock by the thousands, the closing of railroads and schools, the use of snowplows to clear the dust, of cars sandblasted free of paint, and the exodus of 3 million people in defeat.
The drought is unrelenting. By one estimate, 3/5 of the USA from sea to shining sea is dry. And you can see how dry on the mighty Mississippi River, which is where we find ABC's Ryan Owens tonight.
You're looking at an Indiana golf course. It's so dry, balls drop through the cracks of what any other summer is a water hazard. In Nebraska, this river is so low, the fish have no place to swim. And the Mississippi River isn't nearly as mighty as it should be. This seems to me that we're starting to get a little thin here, right?
Very thin.
George Level runs a towboat company in Memphis. His crews navigate massive barges through these increasingly narrow channels dotted with dry docks. One of his men shot this picture of an island that appeared right in front of his boat.
We lose another couple of feet, they're going to be in bad shape.
Watch when our captain hit a shallow spot. Nothing but thick, dark mud spewing from the back of the boat. The river is more than 17 feet below normal. Crews are forced to lighten the load on these barges so they won't run aground, increasing the cost of transporting everything from coal to corn. Today, the Agriculture Secretary updated the president on just how dire this drought has become.
I get on my knees every day, and I'm saying an extra prayer now. If I had a rain prayer or rain dance I could do, I would do it.
Ryan Owens, ABC News, Memphis.
Inconvenient for a lot of Americans and for some growers who depend on the land for their livelihood. There are real fears tonight that this year could be one of the worst harvests in decades.
A few blocks away, heat buckled the pavement.
This is happening across the country from Wisconsin to Texas. You're seeing streets buckling all over the place.
In St. Louis, where it broke 100 degrees for the 8th straight day, air conditioning repairmen worked overtime.
Never got a break yet. I worked yesterday.
Today, more record highs. At least 20 cities from Atlanta to as far north as Wisconsin.
This corn we're looking at now should be 8 feet tall.
Dave Eibendahl says his southern Illinois farm hasn't seen a decent rain since April 14th. The government says the nation's corn crop is in the worst shape since 1988, and it's sent prices up more than 35% in just 3 weeks.
Our corn is just about done for. I would expect that the yield is going to be ridiculously low this year.
Today, government forecasters said a likely El Nino weather effect could begin as soon as this month, much earlier than expected. And that could contribute to more extreme weather, not only in this country, but from South America to Asia.
This fall on PBS, they had come to the far edge of the Great Plains in search of a new beginning, in the last place in America where a family could claim a homestead and build a future.
We had the best crop that we had had in 1929, and everything was looking up.
A sea of grass, once the domain of Indians and buffalo, disappeared beneath the blade of a plow.
I saw the whole country transformed in the sunset glow. All the brown prairie turned to gold.
But then it was as if the land rejected them. The rains stopped and the winds came.
We saw this cloud coming in, black dirt. And I'll never forget my grandmother. She said, "You kids run and get together. The end of the world's coming."
It came like a black wall, a tide of destruction that crashed over the broken plains, choking the life out of everything in its path.
You never really escaped the dust. It always found its way in, and that's, I think, what drove people crazy.
Some would pull up stakes and move on, but most stayed, always looking to the promise that next year would be better.
We were just too selfish, and we were trying to make money, and it didn't work out.
Ken Burns tells the story of a generation that was buried and what it took to dig out. The Dust Bowl starts Sunday, November 18th at 8, 7 Central, only on PBS.